Hello and welcome students. We are into the 31st video lecture of the video lecture series made on the subject of machine design, whose subject code is ME303, and the topic which we are going to discuss today is the design of journal bearings part 4. This video lecture is in continuation with the previous 3 video lectures in which I have taught you about the different aspects of design of journal bearings, starting with the different types of journal bearings, then after the different parameters, variables which were important for journal bearings like the Sommerfeld's number, like the bearing characteristic number, alright, like the bearing modulus. This all we have discussed in the previous video lectures. If you have not seen those video lectures, you can get and you can see those video lectures. Today, in this fourth part of design of journal bearing, I will discuss with you about the total design procedure that is adopted for a journal bearing, and there are some parameters which are very important to consider at the preliminary stages of design of journal bearing. We will see that, and also how to use the tables which are given in the machine design data book. That also I will tell in today's video lecture. I am Shri Krishna Mishra, Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Suresh Gyan Vihar University, Jaipur. So let's start our lecture. Before moving into the lecture, first let's see what are the objectives of today's lecture. So basically the objective, students, of today's lecture are: first, we are going to understand the importance of coefficient of friction variable. Coefficient of friction variable. This is an important variable. We will see what is this and what are the importance of this variable. Then after there is also one more variable which is known as flow variable. In the second objective will be to know about the flow variable. Then the third objective will be to know about the different parameters needed in the starting phase of design of journal bearing. At the preliminary stage of the design of journal bearing, the different parameters that are needed, we will see what are those parameters and what is the importance of those parameters. Then our fourth objective will be to understand the importance of this parameter, length to diameter ratio, because all the other parameters are calculated based on the calculation of length to diameter ratio of the bearing. And finally, we are going to see how we can use design data table for designing a journal bearing. Alright, so these are the objectives of today's lecture, students. Let's start our ecture now. So students, in continuation with my previous video lecture in which I have told you about the Sommerfeld's number and eccentricity ratio, and we have also solved number of numericals based on these Sommerfeld number and this clearance eccentricity ratio. All right, so now we will move further into this topic and we will now focus on the design parameters. Today our focus will be to discuss about on the design parameters and do the complete procedure of design of a journal bearing. So we will follow the complete procedure of the design of journal bearing and how we use the table that is given in the design data book, that we will also see today. So first of all, as I have told you, Sommerfeld number is a very important number because it has all the variables which are controlling the design of the bearing. All the variables which are very important for the design of bearing. All are here. Very important. Many questions are asked in competitive examinations. They are also on this Sommerfeld number. So it's S is equal to R by C whole square mu NS by P. This particular formula, this particular number is your Sommerfeld's number. In this, all the notations which are given to you, they stand for your capital S is your Sommerfeld's number. Mu stands for viscosity of a lubricant. Always keep in mind we are using the mu for the viscosity, alright. And for coefficient of friction, we will use the alphabet small f. Then journal speed we are taking, since journal speed here we are taking in revolution per second. It is not in RPM. It is in revolutions per second, and we are writing it by the notation small n into small n and in subscript we are using s. So notations are very important. Sometimes when we refer different books, then the notations used in the different books are different, and sometimes we get a bit confused. So always don't go into the notation, go into the uh, particular thing that notation is trying to say. All right. Similarly, this is small p, this is the unit bearing pressure. Unit bearing pressure means the load that is acting on the bearing, the load that is acting on the bearing, that particular load. For example, the load, if it is W, in the last lecture we have seen, if the load is W, all right, and if the projected area, for example, is L into D, means length of the bearing into diameter of the bearing. So W by LD will give you the value of unit bearing pressure. W by LD will give you the value of the bearing pressure. All right. So these are the notations which are used in Sommerfeld's number. It is an important number. Here you can see two dimensionless parameters are given to you. One is R by C and the second is mu and S by P. These are the two dimensionless parameters which are there in the Sommerfeld's number. Now, as I have told to you, this diagram I have already explained. This is the side view, you can say cross-sectional view of a journal and the bearing, in which you can see there is a clearance space. These black dots which you are seeing, these are the lubricants. This is the clearance between the journal and the bearing. And in this vacant space, there is lubricant that is filled. And you can see that there is a difference in the diameter of the journal and the bearing. This is so in order to accommodate the lubricant. All right, there is a gap between the center of the two bearings, and that gap is known as eccentricity. Then after, the radius of the journal is denoted by small r, and the radius of the bearing is denoted by capital R. Then after, the revolutions per second of the journal inside the bearing is denoted by a small ns. Then as you can see, the minimum thickness of the oil film, the minimum thickness of the lubricant in this clearance space, you can see it is here. And this minimum thickness is denoted by H naught. All right. So basically your capital R becomes equal to your capital R here. Here your capital R becomes equal to, that is equal to H naught. All right, H naught. Then plus, it is eccentricity, E, plus, as I have already told to you, plus small r. Small is the r is the radius of the journal. All right. So we have also deduced some other formulas also, like eccentricity ratio. All right. Then after, we have also solved numerical based on this. Today I will tell you about the friction variable. Friction variable is also an important variable. This variable is important because friction plays a very important role in the case of sliding contact bearing. Always you can see, in the case of hydrodynamic bearing, in the case of journal bearing, we say there is a lot of friction that is involved at the start, because there is metal to metal contact between the journal and the bearing. Always there is metal to metal contact. Even at slow speed also there is partial metal to metal contact. Only after the journal has gained a sufficient amount of velocity, then only they will lubrication. So in that case also, viscosity plays a very important role for creating the friction between the two surfaces. Now, for measuring that friction, there is a variable which is known as a coefficient, which is known as the coefficient of friction variable, CFV. Coefficient of friction variable, CFV. It is in short, it is known as CFV, coefficient of friction variable, and it is given by this particular formula, R by C into small f. Here small f is what? Small f is your coefficient of friction. All right, so coefficient of friction variable and coefficient of friction is different. In the coefficient of friction variable, this is the formula that is used, R by C into f. This is the number, coefficient of the friction variable number. Then after, when a coefficient of friction value you have, then we all know that how we calculate the frictional torque. Torque, we all know, if the friction force that is acting, for example, it is rotating in this way, all right, and if there is friction force which is acting in this direction, so the radius of rotation will be given by this particular distance, which is small r. So this frictional force into this r, this will give you the frictional torque. This frictional force multiplied by this r, this will give you the value of frictional torque. All right. And we all know, if this is the load, for example, if this is the load that is acting, all right, if this is the load that is acting on the bearing, then we can say that mu w will be F is equal to mu w. We will say, according to the law of friction, F is equal to mu w. All right. This direction is wrong. Actually, this is R, and this R will be equal to the load that is acting, that is equal to W. So we can say F is equal to mu R, or that is equal to F is equal to mu W. So as I was telling to you, this formula is very much clear to you. Mu, don't get confused here, we are using coefficient of friction as small f. Therefore, it is FWR. All right, FW stands for your frictional force, and if you multiply the frictional force with the radius of rotation, you get the frictional torque. All right, this I have already explained to you with the drawing. Then after, what will be the power, frictional power that is generated? The power dissipated due to friction is your frictional power. If there is friction that is getting created between the journal and the bearing, then there will be power loss. And power loss, how we will calculate? For power loss, this is the torque. All right, this is the torque, and we all know that 2 pi n into torque will give you the frictional power. 2 pi n into torque will give you the frictional power. So here what we will do, we are multiplying 2 pi n, where n is your revolutions per second. Therefore, we have not divided by 60 here. 2 pi nt by 60 is basically your frictional power, but we have written 2 pi ns into torque. This will give you the value of, frictional power. This will give you the value of frictional power. So 2 pi ns into FWR. All right, this is frictional power, and in this too, this is in unit of Newton mm per second. In order to convert, this is in the unit of Newton mm per second. Now, in order to convert it into Newton meter per second, means in order to get the unit of watt, what we have done, we have divided by 10 to the power 3. All right, and finally in kilowatts, it will be written as 2 pi ns into FWR. 2 pi ns into FWR upon 10 to the power 6. 2 pi ns into FWR upon 10 to the power 6. Now in this formula, student, finally what you are getting, frictional power in terms of kilowatt. Frictional power in terms of kilowatt means the power dissipated due to friction in terms of kilowatt. It is given as 2 pi ns FWR by 10 to the power 6. It is given by 2 pi ns FWR upon 10 to the power 6. And the flow variable is also a variable which is important. How we will calculate this flow variable? It has the formula Q upon RC NS into L. Q upon RC NS into L, where this Q is the flow of the lubricant, which is where this Q is the flow of the lubricant inside the bearing, total quantity of the lubricant. All right, upon RC NS into L, which I was telling to you, flow variable, it is basically given by this particular value. Flow variable will be obtained by dividing this flow of the lubricant, which is in millimeter cube per second, flow of the lubricant divided by this particular value, R into C into NS into L. You all know the value of what is R. R is the radius of the journal. C is the clearance. Between R minus R means it is the difference of the radius of the journal and the bearing. NS is your revolutions per second, speed of the journal, and L is the length of the bearing. All right, so in this case students, Q is basically representing the total flow of lubricating oil. Now a part of this Q is circulated around the periphery of the journal, while the remaining oil flows outside as the side leakage. So the total lubricant that is pumped inside the journal, though we don't get confused by the word pump, because we don't use in the hydrodynamic bearing any pump, but still the total quantity of lubricant that is inside the journal, that is noted by capital Q. Now moving further, This is the chart. You can get this chart in the machine design data book, and through this chart we get the values that are important for designing of a bearing, designing of a journal bearing. So we will see how we will use in the numericals this chart. L by D value, you can see first of all we will have to calculate the L by D value. All right, and then based on the value of L by D we will calculate all the other parameters which are given here. For example, if the L by D value is 1, if the L by D value is 1, so based on this value we will calculate the value of epsilon, we will calculate the value of this H naught by C, this is Sommerfeld's number. Then you have a phi is the angle with the vertical angle which the minimum oil film thickness makes with the vertical. What was phi? Phi was the angle which the minimum oil film thickness makes with the vertical. For example, this is the minimum oil film thickness. So if this is the line, if this is the line, this is the line, then this line of minimum oil film thickness and the center, the angle which this line makes with this vertical, this will give you the value of phi, which is the attitude angle. Then after R by C F, C into F value, Q upon RC into NS into L. These all values will be important when we will do some calculations. So first of all, L by D based on the value of L by D, and then after what is the value of eccentricity ratio. Then we will see based on these two values, we will see what are the values of other variables. If the value of eccentricity ratio is 0.4 and L by D is 1, based on that we can get these values. So moving further, now one more thing that has to be calculated in the design of bearing is the temperature rise. Basically, you all know that since there is friction involved in the case of journal bearing, therefore heat is generated in it. Heat is generated in the bearing due to if it is in motion, if the journal is rotating, then there is viscosity, and due to viscosity of lubricating oil, heat is generated. Basically, viscosity is what? It is the resistance of one layer over the other layer in the lubricant. So, and due to this heat generated, why this heat is generated? Due to this friction, and the friction work, this friction work is converted into heat, and this heat increases the temperature of the lubricant. So what will be the value of this temperature rise of the lubricant? This can be calculated because total heat generated formula, which we have seen in the previous slide. All right, total heat generated, this will easily provide us the value. Total heat generated will be given by total power loss, and power loss due to friction, we have seen the formula 2 pi ns into FWR upon 10 to the power 6. So from this total heat generated, total power loss means what? Power loss is due to the friction. So basically that same formula will be used for heat generated. So here the heat generated will be equal to the frictional power that has been dissipated, and it will be equal to the same formula. Moving further, now coming into the different types of parameters which are important in the bearing design, in the design of journal bearing. Let's see what are the different parameters which are important in the design of bearing. In the starting stage, in the preliminary stage of the journal design, it is required to select suitable values of following parameters. So in the initial stage of the design of journal bearing, these are the parameters which are required to be selected. One is the length to diameter ratio, L by D. All right, length to diameter ratio of the bearing means if this is, for example, a shaft and it has the support of the bearing on one side. So if this blue color is showing you the bearing, so the length of the bearing will be, this is the length and this is the diameter of the bearing. So L by D, either small d or capital D, whichever notation you feel like. So L by D will give you that length to diameter ratio. Then unit bearing pressure, the load that is acting on the bearing divided by the projected area, L into D. This will give you the unit bearing pressure. Then a startup load. At the start, as I have already told to you at the start, what is the problem? The problem at the start is that there is metal to metal contact and whole of the load is acting on the bearing. All right. So that startup load that has to be carried. For that you will have to give a starting torque. That is important. Then radial clearance, the clearance between the shaft and the journal. That is also important. Means capital R means radius of the journal and radius of the bearing. The difference of these two will give you the radial clearance. Then minimum oil film thickness. This also I have explained to you. Minimum oil film thickness is what? It is the minimum gap between the journal and the bearing. Minimum gap between the journal and the bearing. So this, for example, is the minimum gap among all you can see. Then minimum oil film thickness. What is minimum oil film thickness? Minimum oil film temperature. So the minimum temperature that is attained by this particular lubricant is your minimum oil film maximum oil film temperature. Sorry, minimum is not that important. Maximum temperature is important. The maximum temperature that can be attained by this lubricant. So these are the parameters, students. Let's see these are parameters one by one. First is length to diameter ratio. First is your length to diameter ratio. So what is length to diameter ratio? First of all, as I already told you, it is the ratio of the length of the bearing to the diameter of the bearing. And L by D, why is important? Because it affects the performance of bearing. How it affects? As the ratio increases, as this L by D ratio increases, the resulting film pressure increases. As this ratio increases, students, and so is the pressure on the oil film between the journal and the bearing. That also increases. In the case of long bearing, as we all know that since a long bearing has more load carrying capacity compared with short bearing. All right, therefore we can say whenever this L by D ratio is large, when we take this L by D ratio large, whenever you have to bear larger loads. So for large load carrying capacity, a long bearing is used. While on the other hand, students, a short bearing is used because it has greater side flow. It has greater side flow and it improves the heat dissipation. Now both are having the benefits. A long length to diameter ratio will give you larger load carrying capacity, while a short bearing means which is having the lesser value of length to diameter ratio will give you greater side flow, and also it will improve the heat dissipation. All right, therefore it is very important to estimate what should be the value of L by D for the requirement which we are having. So L by D ratio is important. Therefore the design trend is to use L by D ratio as either 1 or less than 1. Now, what is this long bearing and what is this short bearing? This also you should know. Long bearing means that if L by D ratio is more than 1, means your length and this dia, if this length which is given, if it is greater than the diameter, you will get the ratio greater than 1 and it will be known as long bearing. And if length to diameter ratio, if this is length to diameter ratio, if this is small, less than 1, if it is less than 1, we say that this is a short bearing. All right. The third one is self-explanatory, that if the L by D ratio is equal to 1, when it will be equal to 1? When L and D both will be equal, then only L by D will be equal to 1. When L and D both will be equal, then only you will get their ratio equal to 1. And in that case, the bearing is known as square bearing. All right. As you can see here in the diagram also, it is explained that in the case of long bearing, you can sustain larger load. All right. Now, moving further, this was length to diameter ratio. Now, let's understand the second important design parameter, that is the unit bearing pressure. As I have already told you, this is equal to how much? This is equal to L by unit bearing pressure means this is basically your load that is acting on the load that is acting on the bearing. Alright, so bearing pressure will be calculated by this load W divided by the projected area, this particular area somewhere here, L into D. Alright, so the unit bearing pressure is the load per unit projected area of the bearing in running condition when the journal is running. All right, it depends on number of factors. What are the factors on which this depends? It depends on bearing material, what material you have used for bearing. Then after, what is the operating temperature? This is also a parameter which is responsible for unit bearing pressure. Then the nature of the pressure and also the frequency of load and the service conditions. So unit bearing pressure is depending on lot of factors. These are the factors like bearing materials, operating temperature, nature and frequency of load and service conditions. Then after, startup load. Startup load means here this unit bearing pressure is for that situation when the bearing is running. All right. While at the start we all know that larger load has to be sustained by the journal. So at that case, we calculate the startup load. Unit bearing pressure for starting condition should never exceed 2 Newton per mm square. The startup load is basically what? It is the static load when the shaft is not rotating. When the shaft is stationary, then at that time the load that is sustained by the journal is known as a startup load. It mainly consists of dead weight of the shaft and its attachment. Basically, if the shaft is not rotating, obviously the load that is acting on the journal is the dead weight of the shaft and whatever the attachment are there along with the shaft. So that particular load will be your startup load. All right. And the radial clearance. What is radial clearance? Radial clearance is basically the difference of the radius of the journal and the bearing, as I have already told to you. And it should be small. Why? To provide necessary velocity gradient. In order to provide necessary velocity gradient, we use a small value of radial clearance. However, this requires costly finishing operations, rigid mountings of the bearings assembly and clean lubricating oil without any foreign particles. Though radial clearance, if you will keep small, then you will have the plus point that there is a good velocity gradient. All right, but this velocity gradient requires good for getting good radial clearance. You will need costly finishing operation during the manufacture of the bearing, and also rigid mountings should be there of the bearing assembly. And there is no compromise on foreign particles adding into the lubricating oil. All right, your lubricating oil should be always clean. So this was your radial clearance. Then after, minimum oil film thickness, this also I have told to you, there should be always some minimum oil film thickness between the journal and the bearing. The surface finish of the journal and the bearing is governed by the value of minimum oil film thickness selected by designer. Alright, so basically the surface finish of the journal and the bearing, this is governed by minimum oil film thickness. There is lower limit for minimum oil film thickness, below which metal to metal contact occurs and hydrodynamic film breaks. Always there should be some lower limit below which there should be some minimum value of oil film thickness, because if below it the thickness goes of the oil film, then what will happen? There will be metal to metal contact between the journal and the bearing, and the film, which is known as hydrodynamic film, that will break. This lower limit is given by H naught is equal to 0.0002 into R. And the maximum oil film temperature, this is the last important parameter in the design. And what is the meaning of this? It is the oil lubricant. We all know that the relation between the viscosity of the lubricating oil and the temperature is that viscosity decreases with the increase in temperature of the lubricating oil. Therefore, the lubricating oil tends to, basically the problem is that the lubricating oil tends to oxidize when the operating temperature exceeds 120 degrees. So 120 degrees is the maximum oil film temperature. Above it, what will happen? Lubricating oil will oxidize. So these were the different parameters which were important in the design of journal bearings. bearing are designed. First is on basis of maximum load carrying capacity, and second is on the basis of minimum frictional loss. So basically, there are two conditions or two categories in which the design of general bearing is done. One is the maximum load carrying capacity, and second is the minimum frictional loss. All right. Now let's take an example, students. With the help of example, it will be easy to understand this all parameters and how we are doing the designing. First of all, the data that is required to be used in the designing in this numerical is given here. In this data, they have provided you that the hydrodynamic bearing is 360-degree hydrodynamic bearing. Then after the radial load that is acting, means the value of capital W, this is given to you as 3.2 kilonewton. The journal speed, the speed of the journal in RPM they have given to you, let's write it as capital N. That is given to you as 1490 RPM. Then the journal diameter is also given to you. What is this? This is denoted by a small d. Then the bearing length. Bearing length is how much? Bearing length is 50 mm. So this is your small l. This is your small l. Now moving further, radial clearance is given to you. Radial clearance, basically we all know it is what? It is denoted by C. It is denoted by C, and it is equal to generally capital R radius of the journal minus small r. Radius of the journal, radius of the bearing capital R minus radius of the journal small r. Now assuming that the total heat generated in the bearing is carried by total oil flow in the bearing, we have to calculate all these values. First, coefficient of friction, power lost in the friction, minimum oil film thickness, flow requirement in liters per minute, and the temperature rise. These are the values which we have to use. This is the data that has to be used, and these are values that has to be calculated. So let's see how we will calculate. Let's go to the solution part. What we will do, friends, first of all, we have listed all the values which are given in the question. Load was given to us, speed was given to us in RPM, diameter of the journal, length of the journal, diameter of the bearing, length of the bearing, clearance, and then viscosity was also given to us. Viscosity was 25 centipoise. All right, viscosity here, as you can see, it is also given to us as 25 centipoise. Now, first of all, what we will do, we will see what are the values of the different performance parameters. Like, first of all, what will be the pressure? Pressure is easy to calculate. We have seen that load divided by product of L into D. This will give you the value of unit pressure. So W by LD. W value you have, it is in kilonewton, so multiply it by 1000 in order to get it in Newton. So you have multiplied by 1000 here, and L and D both are in mm, multiplied, and finally what you will get? You will get the value of unit pressure as equal to 1.28 Newton per mm square. Then after Sommerfeld's number, we will have to calculate. This was the first parameter. Second, Sommerfeld's number we will calculate. What is Sommerfeld's number? You all know R by C whole square into mu ns by P. This will give you the value of Sommerfeld's number. So putting the value R is given to you here because diameter is there, divided by 2, you will get the radius. So 25 is, what will be the radius? Radius will be 25. So 25. C, clearance is also given to you 0.05. This we have put. Then after, mu value, viscosity value 25 centipoise. This is also given to you. All right. Mu into ns, revolutions per second. So 1490 is basically your revolutions per minute. So for per second, we have divided it by 60. We have got the value in revolutions per second. So mu value also we have put. Then ns value also we have put. Now this unit pressure is 1.28. So all these values we have put. All right. So in this formula we can see finally we have calculated the value of this Sommerfeld's number. We have calculated the value of Sommerfeld's number. This is in centipoise. So therefore we have taken it. We have divided it by 10 to the power 9. All right. Now students, as I have already told you, this you can rewind, you can see my previous video lectures. I have told you that how to convert the units of viscosity. So therefore we have divided it by 10 to the power 9. Now L by D ratio, here diameter 50, length 50, means L by D ratio is 1, means it is a square bearing. All right, and from table now we will see from table what C for values L by D equal to 1. What are the values which we will get of R by C? We have to see H naught by C and Q upon RC NS into L. These values from the table, let's see. In this table you can see this is L by D value equal to 1, and corresponding to this value these are the values which we can take. All right, so from these values first of all R by C into F. If you want to calculate R by C into F, if you want to calculate R by C into F, you can calculate from this C value, students. From the table we will find this value R by C. So how it will be calculated? R by C into F. All right, from the table, as I have told to you, this is the table, and from this you can see the value corresponding to this L by D equal to 1, because diameter and length both are equal to 50. We can see the values are given to you here. Now you also will have to calculate the value of eccentricity also. So eccentricity, based on that these two values we can calculate all the values which we need here, R by C into F. All right, Q upon RC into NS into L. Then these are the values which we will directly import from this table. All right, now based on it students, let's go into this. These are the values which we have seen in the table. H naught by C is 0.4, Q upon RC NS into L, this is 4.33. so these values we have calculated from this table. Then after, now in the next step, as in the question they have asked you about the coefficient of friction. So how we will calculate the coefficient of friction? See, the value which we have attained from this table, this is the value. All right, so coefficient of friction you can calculate from this expression. R by C into F is equal to 3.22. This means that F, coefficient of friction, will be equal to 3.22 into C by R. C value is given to you and R value is D divided by 2. Putting these values, you will get the value of coefficient of friction. All right, so the first thing which was required to be calculated, this we have calculated. Now coming into the next one, power lost in friction. So here, coming into the next step, power lost in friction formula, we all know, we have seen this formula in the discussion, 2 pi ns FWR upon 10 to the power 6. Here friction we have calculated, we will put directly that value here. Then after W, that is the load that is acting, 3.2 kilo Newton it is, so we have multiplied with 1000. Then after radius is, we have put the radius values also. Then rotations per second, this value also we have calculated. Putting all this value, you will get the power lost in the friction. All right, this is equal to 0.08. Finally, at last, minimum oil film thickness. How we will calculate minimum oil film thickness? Minimum oil film thickness we have already seen from the table. This is H naught by C, where H naught is your minimum oil film thickness. C is given to you in the question, 0.05. All right, so putting this value will get minimum oil film thickness is equal to 0.02 mm. It is equal to 0.02 mm. Now finally, last, the flow requirement. How we'll calculate the flow requirement, students? Again, one more thing which I have calculated from the table is the value of Q upon RC NS into L, means this Q divided by RC NS, all right, into L. So when you will take this RC NS into L on the right hand side, so by multiplying it by 4.33, you will get the value of flow requirement. R you already have, C you have, this revolutions per second value you have, and also the value of length of the length of the bearing, that also you have. Putting these values, you will be able to easily calculate the value of flow, quantity of lubricant. All right, flow of the lubricant in fact. And after calculating it, you can convert it, the units, you can convert the units in liters also, you can convert. We will here divide by 1000 and we will get in liters per second. Finally, in liters per minute, you can get this value. At last, this is the at last we are going to calculate the value of temperature rise. And how we will get this temperature rise value? Here in the previous equation which I have told to you, in that equation we have derived this formula. If you have not seen this formula, then try to memorize this formula. This is important formula. This is used for calculation of temperature rise, and it is given by 8.3 into P into CFV upon FV. CFV is the coefficient of friction variable. All right, and FV is the flow variable. So these two values, coefficient of friction variable and flow variable, we have seen in the discussion also. Let me move into the previous slides. This is the value, students, as I have told you in the discussion. R by C into F is the coefficient of friction variable, and flow variable is Q upon RC NS into L. These two values directly from the chart, directly from that chart table, we have seen. So directly these values we will put in the formula of rise in temperature. So the rise in temperature, these are the values, flow variable, and this is your coefficient of friction variable. Putting these values directly here, flow variable, coefficient of friction variable, and flow variable, we will get the temperature rise. When you will calculate, you will find a value equal to 79 degrees centigrade. All right. So I hope the numerical is now well understood to you. Let me memorize once again. The only thing is that you will have to see here you can get confused. In this chart, if your L by ratio is 1, one thought that is coming into your mind, I think so, is that how we have selected that among these all values, which value we will have to take. This thought might be coming into your mind, that among these all values, which value we will take. So for that, we have calculated the Sommerfeld's number. In this values, in all these values, Sommerfeld number, this is your Sommerfeld's number. So the value of Sommerfeld's number here in this values, you see the value which you have calculated is given here. So the value of Sommerfeld's number which we have calculated here at the initial solution of this numerical is 0.121. 0.121. So in this 0.121 corresponding to this value of 0.121 and L by D equal to 1, you can see we will have to use these values. Therefore, I was using these values 3.22, 4.33. Alright, therefore I was using these values of, these were the values of RC by S, Q upon RC, NS into L. Alright. So in this way, and H naught by C. This is the H naught by the C value which we have seen. By now I hope that this is now understood. Let's see this variable. We have to design a hydrodynamic general bearing, full hydrodynamic general bearing, and these are the values which are given to us. We have a general diameter which is 75 mm, radial load 10 kilonewton, general speed is 1440 rpm, minimum oil film thickness 22.5 microns. All right, 40 degrees centigrade is the inlet temperature, and the material is the bead. We have to determine the length of the bearing, and we have to select the suitable oil for this application. So let's move these all values. We all know general diameter is given by your small d, radial load is given by your W, general speed is given by your N. We will find the value of revolutions per second, means speed in seconds we will see, NS value we will see. Then after minimum oil film thickness is given to you as H naught is the value. H naught denotes the value of minimum oil film thickness. Inlet temperature is given to you. So based on that, we have to find the length of the bearing. First of all the values which are given in the numerical, we have listed all the values. W 10 kilonewton, speed 1440, diameter of the journal, minimum oil film thickness, and the initial temperature. First of all, based on this load value, we will find the bearing pressure. And what will be the unit pressure? It is given by W by LD. Alright, so this will give you the value of length of the journal, length of the bearing, W by P into D. P is given to you, because from the table we will take out this value. T is not given in the equation, but from table we will find this value. The permissible bearing pressure for machine tool application is 2 Newton per mm square. This I will show you from where we have taken from the table. 2 Newton per mm square is the value of permissible bearing pressure for machine tool applications. All right. This is the table. This is the table. From this we have calculated the value of permissible bearing pressure. All right. Then after L by D, from by putting the value of this pressure 2 Newton per mm square, we have got L by D equal to 0.89. 0.89. All right. Then after, now we are assuming L by D to be equal to 1 because nothing is given in the question regarding it. Therefore, we will have to take some L by D value. So let's take this L by D value equal to 1. Based on it, since your L by D which you have calculated was equal to 0.89, and near to it the value after after doing the round off of this value 0.89, we are getting 1. So L by D we are taking 1. We are considering now your bearing as a square bearing. L by D is equal to 1. All right, this means that L and D, based on this value equal to 1, the L and D value which we will get is equal to 75 mm, is equal to 75 mm. All right, D is 75 mm, L by D is equal to 1. This means that your L will also be equal to 75 mm. This value of bearing pressure, since it was not given in the question, so from the table we have taken it equal to 2 Newton per mm square. All right. Then after the L by D, second twist was that L by D is given to you as 0.89, and near to it, and we take you near to the calculated value. So one value we will take. So L by D is equal to 1, therefore diameter we have taken equal to 75 mm. Then moving further, now what we will do? We will calculate the pressure in by this formula W by LD. We have taken L and D value 75, 75. Therefore, the pressure becomes equal to 1.78. See how we have calculated. First of all, the assumed value we have taken of pressure 2 Newton per mm square. Then based on that, we have calculated the L by D ratio. Now, the near to that L by D ratio, the designed value of L by D that we have taken, which is your 1. And based on that, we have calculated the value of length of the journal. So this is the beauty of the design subject. And then again we have calculated the value of this unit pressure. Now the standard value of radial clearance in the case of Babbitt bearing, it is given by, this is the formula, and putting these values we have calculated the clearance. Similarly, the this minimum film thickness for Babbitt bearing is this one, and from the table, if L by D is equal to 1 and H naught by C is equal to 0.6, you can calculate the value of Sommerfeld's number. All right. So in this way, everything you can calculate after calculation of this particular thing. Finally, Sommerfeld's number, again putting the values of Sommerfeld number. Finally, only one unknown is there, that is the viscosity. Viscosity you can calculate. Finally, the change in temperature. For this change in temperature, you will have to put the value of coefficient of friction variable and the flow variable. You will get the change in temperature, and average value of temperature will be the initial temperature plus change in temperature divided by 2. This will give you the average value, and you will get the average value as 50.72. Now from A and B, it is observed that the lubricating oil should have minimum viscosity. The viscosity of SAE 10 oil is 20 centipoise at 50 degrees centigrade. All right. So finally, in this way, you can solve this numerical. I hope you have understood this numerical, students. Students, now it's time to discuss some multiple choice questions. Let's see. We are starting with multiple choice question number 1. This is our multiple choice question number 1. Let's read out. Which of the following is the criteria in design of hydrodynamic journal bearing? So we all know the design criteria in the case of hydrodynamic bearing is the Sommerfeld's number. This is an important number. Apart from it, the rating life, this is for ball bearing, specific dynamic capacity, this is also for ball bearing, and rotation factor. This is also not used in the case of journal bearing. So option A is the correct option. Coming into multiple choice question number 2. Here it is a numerical. This is the multiple choice question number 2. It is a numerical, student. A natural feed journal bearing of diameter 50 mm and length 50 mm means L by D is equal to 1, and it is operating at 20 revolutions per second. This is the value of NS. This is the value of NS. Alright. Revolutions per second. The load that is being carried is given to you as 2 kilonewton. The lubricant used has a viscosity 20 megapascals, 20 millipascal second. Alright. Then after the clearance, the radial clearance is given to you as 50 μm. The Sommerfeld number of the bearing is, so we have to calculate the Sommerfeld's number. We know the formula to calculate the Sommerfeld's number. Sommerfeld's number is given by R by C whole square into mu n by P. All the values are given to you. Like first of all, you will have to calculate the unit pressure, this P value. P will be given by the load that is acting divided by the projected area D into L. You will calculate, it will be equal to 0.8 Newton per mm square. Now putting all the values, all the other values are already given, like R is given to you, C is given to you, R is 25, diameter divided by 2, 50 is the diameter, divided by 2 will give you the value 25. C is also given to you. Alright, C is the clearance and it is given to you as 50 μm. Μm means you will have to multiply with 10 to the power minus 3 in order to get it in mm. Alright, then after the other values like coefficient of viscosity is the other values like viscosity is also given to you as 20. Then after, and RPS rotations per second value is also given to you here, that is 20, so that also we have used. Then after, the pressure value also we have used. So putting all these values, we have obtained the value of Sommerfeld's number. Sommerfeld's number is equal to 0.125. So in the options you see, B is the correct option. Moving further into the third multiple choice question. The question is saying you that starting friction is low in the case of, in the case of hydrodynamic friction, it is large. So this can't be the option, correct option. In the case of hydrodynamic lubrication, you have a high starting friction. So this can't be the answer. Then after, second one will be mixed lubrication. No. Boundary lubrication, no. In the case of hydrostatic lubrication, the plus point is that you have low value of starting friction because there is always lubrication that is between the surfaces. So A is the correct option. Coming into multiple choice question number 4, students. Multiple choice question number 4. What is the question saying? In sliding contact bearing, a positive pressure can be built up and a load supported by a film only by the use of, for building the positive pressure, we should have a converging film. We should have a converging film of oil between the journal and the bearing. So option C is the correct option. Coming into multiple choice question number 5. Increase in values of which of the following results in an increase in the coefficient of friction in an hydrodynamic bearing? So which will cause the increase in the coefficient of hydrodynamic bearing? We all know that Petrov's equation is the equation which gives you the value of hydrodynamic bearing friction. The coefficient of friction value in the case of hydrodynamic bearing is given by Petrov's equation, which is given by the formula 2 pi mu ns by P into R by C. Putting, as you can see here, if you increase the value of mu, your friction will increase the value of revolutions per second, your friction will increase the value of R, your friction will increase. So basically in the options, viscosity, yes. Clearance between shaft, no. Shaft speed, yes. So 1 and 3 are correct. In the options, B is the option which is giving you the value of 1 and 3 combined. So B is the correct solution. Coming into multiple choice question number 6. Consider tile following statement. This is our multiple choice question number 6. Radius of friction circle for a journal bearing depends on, we all know the radius of friction circle is given by coefficient of friction into R. So first is correct, second is correct. no relation with the third. So 1 and 2 means B is the correct option. Coming into multiple choice, question number 7. In a journal bearing, the radius of friction circle increases with the increase in, so the radius of friction circle I have seen that it is equal to F into R. Alright, so either the coefficient of friction or the radius of the journal. Here in the option it is B. We all know that radius of friction circle is equal to F into R. So B is the one which is giving you the correct option. Coming into multiple choice question number 8, the bearing characteristic number in a hydrodynamic journal bearing. The bearing characteristic number in a hydrodynamic journal bearing depends on, so we all know bearing characteristic number is given by mu n by P, mu n by P. So as per this formula, you can see viscosity, speed, two are correct in the option C, but not the third one. In the option D, you can see viscosity, speed and bearing pressure. All three are given. So D is the correct option. D is the correct option. Coming into multiple choice question number 9. This is our multiple choice question number 9, student. A sliding contact bearing is operating under stable condition. The pressure developed in oil film is P when the journal rotates at n RPM. The dynamic viscosity of the lubricant is mu. The effective coefficient of friction between journal and the bearing of diameter D is F. Then which of the following statement is correct for the bearing? See, F is directly proportional to mu and P. F is, all things are related with the coefficient of friction, and we know by Petroff's law, coefficient of friction is given by this particular formula. And in this particular formula, you can see, with this formula, you can see that F is directly proportional to mu, n and R. In the options, second is the only one which is giving you the correct statement. F is directly proportional to mu and n. So B is the correct answer. Alright. Coming into the next one, this is our 10th multiple choice question. In an oil lubricated bearing, the coefficient of friction between journal and the bearing, we all know that the coefficient of friction between the journal and the bearing is, first of all, the coefficient of friction is high at 0 speed, and it decreases monotonically with increase in speed. You can say, or in other words, you can say it first of all decreases and then increases. Alright, so becomes minimum at optimum speed and then increases with further speed. So option D is the correct option. All the multiple choice question we have discussed, students. Now for your self study, you can use these reference books which are highlighted in the screen. For today, it's enough, students. Thank you and have a nice day.